Welcome back to the Celtics Nation Rise recap. I'm Griffin Aldrich. Alongside me, we got my two great co-hosts, Carl McDonald and Daniel Miguel. And your Boston Celtics have unfortunately lost to the OKC Thunder with a final score of 102 to 104. Guys, tough loss, but and this one stings. It stings bad. 102 to 104, but I gotta say, we gotta take a little light away from it as well. But I gotta say, Ron Harper Jr. fan page has been waiting for us to start, so we gotta give our little dose of Ron Harper Jr. before we really dive in. And I gotta say this, I gotta tell you, I think you're okay. I think Ron's gonna get a contract. Ron has been fire. On fire. And tonight we'll obviously get into it. You see the ticker down below, but I'm telling you, if Ron doesn't walk away with a contract at the end of the season, I don't know what else to tell you. Go check out our podcast tomorrow. We talk about it a little more as well. But let's get into it. Carl, we'll start off with you and go to Daniel. Initial thoughts after this loss to the Thunder.
Yeah, when it comes to a Celtics loss, it never really feels fun. But I feel like this is a loss, as Daniel said it before we even started this, a loss that we can definitely take, a loss that we can definitely accept. We were really fighting, we were really showing out, to be a team that could, eventually contend. And we were doing this without Jason Tatum and Derek White. We had just gotten Peyton Pritchard back, and Jaylen Brown, was also playing very well too. And essentially, I'd say he redeemed himself for what happened in the previous game as well. Um, again, tough to see us lose in the way that we did, but we were still doing everything right. We were still aggressive on the offensive end, but the defensive end, I would say, was the greatest thing I've ever seen, from the Celtics in a long, long time. And that's saying something because, again, they've been doing great this season. Hugo Gonzalez essentially hounding SGA and without, having the whistle be, up his derriere. And other and other, moments and instances where, the Celtics could have easily found themselves, I mean, yes, we lost because of the whistle, but I would say it wasn't as bad as it could have been because, again, we were within striking range. We were close. We were fighting. We were really showing out in the best way that we could. And that was thanks to the collective efforts of our team, of course. Jaylen Brown, of course, was playing at an MVP level as he always does. But I feel like this is the most I've ever seen this team, really play together. I feel like in this game, simply because it wasn't just because, their guys in Tatum and White were out, but also you're playing against the defending champions and in a very hostile crowd in Oklahoma. So that's something, great to see. Not just, them being able to play together as they've always been and really showing out that chemistry, but also Jason Tatum, of course, resting and being able to recondition and avoiding to play Lou Dort. It's always great to see. It's always great to see, the Celtics playing, even in a loss like this. Very proud of what they accomplished tonight, despite, again, not picking up this win.
Yeah, I agree. Um, Good, really good game tonight. Honestly, I think one of the most impressive things you can say about this team tonight was their defense. I think defensively we were set from start to finish. There were some plays where, like, I mean, I guess better defense could have been played, but I think in the general sense of it, we played amazing defense tonight. Like I said in the group chat before this one, I really did love the way we like. It felt like game one of the NBA Finals. Honestly, that's the kind of intensity that both us and OKC came to this game with. I mean, 27 to 28 lead changes. It was such a physical and like physical game from the start, and that's really what I love the most about it. Shooting was a little off. We were good defensively, but offensively, just couldn't get it going. I think the stat I saw is that we're like 3 for 16 in the fourth quarter or something. That really hurt us, and I think the loss goes down to that. I think, in my opinion, because I mean we should have even just a little bit better than that, and we end up winning the game. So yeah, just shooting that kind of hurt us a little bit. Players like Hauser and some of the other guys just couldn't knock down the shots in the fourth. But other than that, not really much to say. I'm think I'm gonna go back on defense just a little bit because that that historic shot by Shea Gilson Alexander, happy for him to break that record. But if you see Sharman on that shot, he's playing really good defense in my opinion. Like he's on Shea, not fouling him, not doesn't have his hands on him. So even though the focus was on Shea, I think like for me personally, the focus was on Sharman, who I think played really good defense in that play. And the Celtics in general, I think, like I said, just played really good defense in the game, and so we just needed to connect offensively in order to win the game, and that just did not happen. So, yeah, if it's anything to pin this loss on, it's just missed shots, and the fact that we're missing two of our star players, like you said, Carl. So, yeah, not really a tough one. I said it before we started this. I think I'd want to call this one a good loss, on those terms, just because the team itself played really good, especially defensively, just couldn't get it done. That's all. But yeah, with playing against someone like Shea, who he's always going to play good, like he did tonight. I will say that he had a really good game, in my opinion. So yeah, when you have someone like that on the other team, it's going to be tough to beat him without your two star players.
Yeah, and like you guys mentioned already, Shea beating Wilt Chamberlain tonight, it was undeniable that he was going to go for that, and OKC was not going to go down without a fight, and they ended up victorious. I have to say, very, very impressed with the bench and very impressed with Baylor Shireman tonight in particular as well. But just you already alluded to it to Daniel, his defense and his presence was just being felt all night. And I loved watching Baylor Shireman. I think if the Celtics win, he has a strong argument for CNR MVP tonight. And then you look at it, Hugo Gonzalez, I think
Gonzalez as well, yeah,
yeah,
really good game from him. Yeah,
he was phenomenal. It was him, Ron Harper Jr. at one point making plays in there. Um, Got to credit Jordan Walsh, who we haven't really talked about a lot since earlier in the season, but had something really spark him tonight. And he had a phenomenal game. And Ron Harper Jr., who had the highest plus minus tonight with a plus minus of 15. I mean, the bench was phenomenal. But one thing I did take away from this, and I texted it to you guys too, in that fourth quarter, you have to win the fourth quarter. And I think this is a good time to transition to it. Let's pull it up, and I'll bring it to Daniel. But I think the most important stat right here is you lose that fourth quarter. The game was great. The game was great, but once you get into that fourth quarter, you can't think of in the past. You can't think of the Peyton Pritchard buzzer beater. You can't think about how great your team has been playing. You need to execute from there. And OKC had the slight advantage, but doesn't discredit from this phenomenal game. But Daniel, if you wanted to break it down for us.
yeah. In that first quarter, we end up with the lead, 28-27. Like I said earlier, really competitive, really physical game from both teams, which leads to the second quarter with another close scoring, of 31-29, going the Celtics way into halftime. It was actually a tied game, headed into halftime, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, really good game so far. Third quarter, another tied, tied matchup. Really good, from both teams, scoring 24 points. And then in the fourth quarter, the OKC matched the third quarter scoring while the Celtics scored 19. Our biggest lead was 12 in the second quarter, and then OKC's biggest lead was 7 at the end of the first. So yeah, Griffin, you mentioned the fourth quarter, and that's something I mentioned before. You said winning the fourth quarter was important. I think yeah, it really just goes down to scoring and those shots that we missed. Because I'm looking at the stats now, we went 4 for 18 in the fourth, and I think we really got it. Like, I think at least in my opinion, that fourth quarter has to be pinned on this specific stat. 0 for 7 from threes as well. So yeah, like I said, just not connecting offensively, but still a really good game nonetheless.
Yeah, and Celtics led by 12 at one point in this game. And the craziest thing, too, about this stat, 28 lead changes. That shows how back and forth this game actually was. But also, in addition to that, for the Celtics, the rebound battle. I mean, you see them winning each numbers on this rebound category. And I think that's huge for the Celtics because, I look at a Thunder team. I think easily the Thunder win the rebound battle. You got guys like Chet, you got guys like Lou Dort, but, it shows tonight that we are a strong rebounding team able to out rebound OKC Thunder on the offensive and defensive side of it. However, assists they did get us. We tied it with turnovers, but really the field goal percentage was the difference maker. But I gotta say, I can't say much. I got. What do you guys think about this one? Do you think Chet's a little overrated? I'd say so. I'd say so.
Um, I think considering the fact that he was being compared to Wemby not too long ago, I think just a little bit like considering the level that Wemby is at now, but he's still not a bad player in my opinion. But yeah, the hype does get to him a little bit too much sometimes, especially from OKC fans.
Carl, you think he's overrated?
If the OKC Thunder fans are really hyping him up, then yes. But yeah, he's definitely not a bad player. I could see them, really saying, "Oh, he's this, great player and stuff," especially comparing him to Wemby, somebody who cleared him in the Rookie of the Year race, back 2 years ago and very late in the season as well. So, there's that. But also, everybody just doesn't like him. I don't know what happened, what he said. Apparently, it's how he dresses. It's like, what did this kid do exactly? I'm trying to figure this.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it.
He's not even Lou Dort.
Oh, you gotta love it. Well, chat. If you're watching this, you're definitely not watching this, but we love you, I guess. Go Celtics, go Celtics on a serious note. But Carl, if you wanted to break down the Thunder's stats, because there was one guy that was scoring tonight for them, and then the rest it was just like kind of a little downfall. But if you want to break it down for us, Carl.
Oh, yeah, you're absolutely right. You have SGA, of course, when it comes to OKC Thunder wins for the most part, leading his team. Tonight, he has 35 points, 6 rebounds, 9 assists, 2 steals, and 3 blocks on 72% in shooting. And as we mentioned as well, beat Wilt Chamberlain's record in scoring more than 20 points consecutively each game that he's playing. Then we have Mitchell putting up 15 points on 60% in shooting, your second best offensive player for tonight. Along with that, you have Chet Holmgren, who puts up a near double-double of 14 points and 9 rebounds on 50% in shooting. And yeah, pretty much everybody else wasn't really, playing well on the offensive end outside of Wiggins and Williams. Both of them put up 9 points, and they were pretty much at that 60 percentage range of field goal percent mates. That was just kind of it there.
They had so many clutch shots. Sorry to interrupt you, Carla, but like like they don't have much on points, but like there were times where Shea's just like throwing the ball out there because he's being double teamed, and these guys just knock the shots down like out of nowhere. Like it was so frustrating to watch. It was similar to that Spurs game, where they have a lot of guys that will just knock down shots. Keldon Johnson or Vassell sometimes, even Castle, or Dylan Harper. So yeah, very similar teams in that aspect.
No, absolutely. And yeah, I was going to mention, Dort with 6 points. Yeah, and he hit, one of those big shots as well from the corner, even though he wasn't really, getting it done on the offensive end, mainly on the defensive end. And yeah, that's essentially pretty much it from this team. Outside of clutch and big shots, being made, there was nothing else being contributed except for, those 3 players on the offensive end in the double digits.
I don't want to go into this for long, but I wanna say this. You guys, the downfall of Jared McCain is crazy. I mean, 12 minutes, 3 points, 16.7% from the field goal. I was a fan of McCain, but now he's on OKC too. I don't know if I gotta hate him more than even when he was on the 76ers, but I gotta say, the Celtics do have OKC again. And that's gonna this is one that you gotta mark on your calendar because I don't know. I'm telling you, we could beat this team. But for the Celtics, I gotta say, no Tanji today. Actually, Andrew and I interviewed him today, so we'll be showing you those interviews with Tanji. And on top of that, we'll be playing for the main Celtics tomorrow. Um, Amari Williams and Max Shulga DNPs. Luca Garza, who I thought was very productive tonight, played 21 minutes, had 7 points, 4 rebounds, had a 9 in the plus minus category. Good night from Garza. I love that 3 that he knocked down. That got me hyped up, I have to say. But next up for the Celtics, Ron Harper Jr., who I loved how they were implementing him, and they implemented him in clutch time too. No Derek White. They need a 3 shooter out there. You put Ron Harper Jr. out there. But I thought his game tonight was incredible. Played 12 minutes, had 5 points, a rebound, assist, a steal. Again, I talked about the plus minus, plus 15, shot 50%. Man, give him a contract, please. I need to see this guy on our team next year. I just need to see Ron Harper on our team next year. I don't know if you guys agree, but I don't. There's not enough of Ron Harper Jr. I need to see more. I need to see more of him because I'm telling you, I saw something, and this is a hot take. He might be the better Harper brother. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm going out there. But what was the foul at the end? Was it his fault? I don't think so. Would you guys say no? Not Ron's. I tell you what, at the end, with the foul. Hold on, can someone break down the foul because I'm kind of bugging on it really quick.
It was Chet. It was Chet that caught it, and I didn't see who was the second defender, but it was Hauser in front of him, and I will say it was a foul.
Yeah,
I will admit that it was a foul, but nothing too crazy. But it at the end of the day, it is enough to send him to the free throw line. So yeah,
I think it was committed by Hauser too.
Yeah, it was Hauser.
Yeah, that. All right. I just need a refresh on it. Jeez, I just watched the game, but I completely blanked out, you guys. And that's why I was putting in the comment, Ron Harper Jr. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I and they could have overturned it. Like, I remember what play it is now. They could have overturned it, but you're not getting that play overturned. You're just it's clearly a foul. All right, but going back to the Celtics though, Jordan Walsh tonight, 13 minutes, 8 points, 3 rebounds, an assist, a plus 12 in the plus minus category, shot 75%. Very efficient tonight. I need to see more of Jordan Walsh on this team too. He was phenomenal. Sam Hauser tonight played 27 minutes, 8 points, 4 rebounds, assists, 2 steals, shot 30%. Looked a little Willy Wonky in the fourth, but can't really blame him. Shots weren't falling. Neemias Queta tonight, they did go to Garza just as much as Neemias Queta tonight. Luca Garza a little bit less, but Neemias Queta tonight played 27 minutes, had 4 points, 10 rebounds, 2 blocks, and a steal. Only shot 25%. Was had some trouble getting the shot up tonight. Hugo Gonzalez, who I already mentioned earlier tonight, was phenomenal. Played 28 minutes. Fouled at the end a little bit. Got into a little trouble, but other than that, that first quarter he was phenomenal. 11 points, 5 rebounds, assists, 2 steals, and a block. Shot 57.1%. Peyton Pritchard, who we can't say enough good things about. Carl and I are getting posters in our future house of that 3 and him screaming, and Lou Daniel said in the background is just absolute cinema, as we have to say. But 14 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, shot 35.3%. Also back in the starting lineup tonight for the Boston Celtics. So got to give it up for Pritchard. Got to give it up. If Andrew was here, we'd have the claps. Baylor Shireman, bonfire Baylor. No win, but I'm still pulling up the graphic because he was phenomenal tonight. 11 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, shot 40%. This is a hidden gem. Again, Ron Harper Jr. just pulled it up. Jordan Walsh is low-key a hidden gem. Baylor Shireman is a hidden gem as well. And I saw it in him with the main Celtics last year. I got to say, I saw it. But, he's doing phenomenal things out there for the Boston Celtics. But lastly, Jaylen Brown, who I thought had an incredible game. And I think you guys have to admit, I think we probably would have given it to Brown had we won. Could have went with 3 players, but Jaylen Brown tonight, 34 points, 7 assists, 6 rebounds, 2 steals, and a block, shot 40%. Went up against the MVP of the league. And Jaylen Brown might even be the MVP. And I think personally outperformed Shea. I'm going to say it. I know Shea had that huge night tonight, but, Jaylen Brown was holding weight on his shoulders. No Tatum, no White. You're losing 2 key guys, especially White, who hasn't missed a lot of time this year. I thought Jaylen Brown had a phenomenal game. Guys, come at me if you guys think I'm mistaken. But I have to say, great night for the Celtics. Despite the loss, there was a lot of good things. But it's a late game, and we have a little more easy schedule. You played the Spurs and the Thunder, little tough games, but then now you kind of look to relax, hopefully get some wins. You play Washington next. Maybe we see Ron Harper Jr. score 90 points, like Scal said on the broadcast. Maybe we even see Amari score 50. I don't know. I don't know what we're in for, but we don't want to keep you guys all night. So we'll go final thoughts. We'll start off with you, Carl, go to Daniel, and back to myself to close it out.
Yeah, once again, really great effort from the Boston Celtics. Couldn't be more proud of this team. Really love this incarnation of this team, especially with what they've accomplished this season. And even in a loss like this, you know that they're really going to learn from this and be prepared for their next matchup. Whether that results in a win or not, I know that they're really going to show up and show out in the best way that they can. But, of course, when it comes to losses, on to the next game. Focus on your next matchup against the Wizards. Yes, we know they're not the best team, especially in our conference, just in general. But they had just been embarrassed 3 nights ago by Bam Adebayo. And that's a team that's really going to want to actually play competitively. So you're going to have to come hard. You're going to have to use this loss to, come hard and beat them, even if you somehow find a way to have Jaylen Brown or a Ron Harper Jr. putting up 90 points or 100 points.
Yeah, I agree.
Wait, Daniel, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah.
I think if we see him drop 90, I think it's safe to say he gets a contract. I don't know why Brad's gatekeeping this man from us. Like, come on, just give him the contract. I get it.
He deserves it. He needs it now.
He needs it. It'll come out tomorrow. Like Ian, David, and I really talk about like the salary and like there's some kinks around it. Maybe he gets, I'm not going to spoil it, but David says a take. You know what? I'm going to shut up right there and you guys can watch episode 91 tomorrow. So just listen to that. But I'm saying Ron Harper needs a contract. But go ahead, Daniel. I'm yapping. I'm carried away. I want this man to get a contract. Come on, Brad.
It's all good. Everything I wanted to say has been said already. The only thing I would say is I think this was another game similar to the Spurs one where I'd want to see just a little bit more from Amari Williams. I just wanted to see a couple more minutes from him. Just throw him in there somewhere. But I just wanted to see like what he could give us tonight. On a night where the only center that they have is really Chet with Hartenstein out. I can't think of anybody else on that team who could play center. So just I guess on the minutes that Chet was off the court, I just wanted to see a little bit more of a rotation on that sense. But yeah, other than that, I think a really good game, and like I said, a good loss. Obviously hurts to call him, but at the same time, it's one that we're definitely going to be studying in the next few days. Definitely Missoula before that Wizards game, and hopefully some of these guys can go off in that game. Maybe another Tatum 50 ball, for the or 40 ball for the for the news. You never know. But yeah, hopefully White and Tatum are back for that one, and it kind of seems like one where the team is just going to have fun. Hopefully, you're going to see the guys just. Yeah, it's kind of going to have that first game back Tatum, first game back feeling. When Tatum came back, that day 0 against the Mavs. I think the team's just going to have fun and just do anything out there to win, and we're going to come out with what seems like an easy win. Hopefully, that's the case.
Yeah, I want to say too, I gotta credit Carl because I think the Wizards are going to come out with a strong push. So maybe, you see them going with JT heavy and Jaylen Brown heavy at first, and then maybe we get some Amari Williams minutes. Again, I think the Amari Williams minutes will come more towards the end of the season once you have a playoff spot secured. But who knows? Who knows? I would love to see the guys get some action, and I would love to see a win against Washington and for the Celtics to get back on pace, because again, you don't want the Knicks to creep up on you. You want to keep that second seed and you want to stay dominant, because we see the Boston Celtics, if they can lose by 2 to the OKC Thunder, they could win this game. Like, there's a few mistakes that we highlighted. Celtics win this game. And I'm highlighting the next time we play the Thunder, because I strongly believe, the Thunder were missing a lot of key pieces, but the Celtics were as well too. I think Derek White is a bigger piece that we are missing than we really highlight, because I think that could be phenomenal, a phenomenal matchup. And who knows, maybe finals preview. Who knows? But I don't want to keep you guys too late, so make sure to tune in against the Wizards and check out episode 91 tomorrow. But with that being said, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and turn on post notifications to be notified every time we upload. Tune in tomorrow for episode 91, and we will see you guys with the next one. Peace, you guys.
Later.